We have pizza once a week, and today is that day. I'm gonna make a breakfast pizza. Um, no recipe, just winging it. Gotta get the dough started first.
So, after locating my recipe for the pizza dough that we make almost every week, I was able to get started. It's 1 cup of flour in the mixer, 1 pack of yeast, 1 1/4 teaspoons of sugar, a quarter teaspoon of salt. Mix that up. And then to that, it's 2 tablespoons of oil. My brain is failing me. And maybe a cup of warm water. It takes my water a significant amount of time to heat up, so that's what I was waiting for in order to get the dough started mixing in the mixer. Usually we double this recipe, but this week I actually have quite a few leftovers from other meals that we've had, so I didn't want to make 2 pizzas. I just made one, just enough for this one meal. And I took the dough out of the mixer before it was like really made, and I decided to knead it by hand. Afterwards, the dough was resting in a little bowl off to the side, and it was time for me to get started on my toppings. So, this breakfast pizza is going to have bacon on it. This is a low sodium bacon, but I mean, bacon in general is pretty salty. So, if you have salt sensitive people, do be aware of that in this. Then I decided the last piece of bacon that wouldn't fit on the pan, I would just go ahead and cook up, and I used ultimately the grease that this 1 piece of bacon let off to cook my eggs. And then the little crumbles here ended up going to the toddler who, who was very interested in what was going on in the kitchen. Now, for anyone who cooks out of their freezer for any amount of time, I'm confident this has happened to you. I needed this breakfast sausage. It was in the freezer. I forgot to defrost it. So, I basically chucked the whole log in the pan frozen, and I just kept turning it and scraping off the thawed bits until it was all thawed. It was a huge pain in the butt, but when you do plan on using things from your freezer, for me at least, this has happened. This is not the first time, it won't be the last time. Sometimes you just forget to take things out beforehand. So, I didn't really want to like microwave defrost it. I didn't have time to defrost it in like a bowl of water or overnight or something because I wanted it for this meal. So, anywho, there we go. Multitask some during this. I made myself some coffee. I cleaned the countertop from where I had spilled some of this pork and bacon juices. I, yeah, found use of the time. And then the bacon was out of the oven. Now, I didn't cook this to fully doneness because it is going to cook more when it's on top of that pizza. Um, the sausage was finally done and ready. So I got a plate with paper towels just so I could drain this on that and sort of set it to the side until our next things were done. Now it's time for me to make a sausage gravy. I usually do this from scratch, but this week I bought a little packet for it. And all you needed was the packet and water, and it cooked up in the amount of time it took me to put those bacon slices on the paper towel. I'm not kidding. It was done. So then there I am with the bacon grease. I decided 2 eggs is all we would need for this pizza. And I feel that was actually really appropriate. So I scrambled those up real quick. And then it was time for me to get the pan ready for our dough. I was worried about it sticking. Usually I have cornmeal that I put on the bottom, but I didn't. So I just used a lot of oil. And then I needed to grate the cheese. This being a breakfast pizza, we're using a combination of American and cheddar on top. And then there I am trying to get the dough sort of spread out and thin as possible. Now, what I will say in hindsight, future Vicky speaking here, is that I used way too much of the gravy. I really wanted the flavor of the gravy, but I used too much sauce. So what ended up happening is all the sauce kind of soaked into my crust. And while the crust was cooked, it was very soft. And this caused me some problems when I went to get it off the pan. In the next time, I think what I would do is take the seasonings that is found in the sausage gravy and use that in my crust so that I still have the flavor without that texture. But regardless, I'm getting our plates set out and I'm getting all of the leftover toppings put up. In the morning, I think we're going to have some breakfast biscuits with this. Finishing off making my coffee. Important, priorities. Um, and that was when the little one wanted the bacon. I gave him some. He came back for more, so I ended up, I think, just giving him that whole little paper towel of bacon bits. But this is where I ran into the problem. The dough was so soft that it tore the pizza when I tried to lift it off the pan. But it didn't really matter. It tasted good. And this is what it looked like when it first came out of the oven. So, will I be making this again? Absolutely. Will I be changing some stuff? For sure. Less sauce, incorporating the spices and seasonings that's in the gravy within the dough. And I might consider pre baking the dough some as well so that it has a chance to better get crispy.